Today I am spending 10 hours on an ancient, derelict and overall terrible Vietnamese train. The journey will take us from the glittering resort town of Nha Trang to the bustling megacity of Saigon. Now, I absolutely love retro trains as long as they are well maintained and reliable. This one was neither. Both locals and foreigners had warned me about the terrible state of Vietnamese trains, and they weren't exaggerating. I am traveling with Mrs. H today, who is from Vietnam, and let me tell you this, she was even more shocked by the condition of that train than I was. Anyways, let's start the adventure in the coastal city of Nha Trang. Good morning from the beautiful beach town of Nha Trang, where our journey begins with a hiccup. Our train was supposed to depart at 9:38 AM, but that didn't happen. As we were having breakfast in a coffee shop, Mrs. H received a message from the train company. Apparently, our train was already 100 minutes behind schedule, now departing at 11:20 AM. Not a good start, but that meant we had time for some banh mi and coffee. At around 10:30, 40 minutes before our new scheduled departure, we made our way to the train station. Nha Trang Station perfectly symbolizes the state of Vietnam railways. It's a beautiful colonial structure that was built by the French in 1936, the same year that the Hanoi-Saigon train route became fully operational. Today it's in a pretty bad state and hasn't seen much maintenance in decades. The architecture retains its charm, but the interior and facilities look tired and outdated. And then we have the toilets. The less said about those, the better.
So this is where our train should be, but as you can see, it is nowhere to be found. Now this train is coming all the way from Hanoi, so it basically crosses all of Vietnam from Hanoi to Saigon. And yeah, that is a very long journey, so a lot of stuff can go wrong on that journey, and apparently it frequently does.
After a lot of waiting around, the train did end up arriving at around 11:10. This is the SE7 Reunification Express, traveling between Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. The line covers a total of 1,726 kilometers in around 32 hours and uses D19 diesel locomotives. We had purchased our tickets online and got them checked by one of the attendants. There are 3 classes on this particular train: soft sleeper class, hard sleeper class and soft seating. As we were traveling during the day, we chose the soft seating option or 3rd class. Upon getting on the train, it became apparent that these seating carriages are in appalling condition, but more on that later. At around 11:35 AM, a full 2 hours behind schedule, we trundled out of Nha Trang. As we are on the move, let's have a look at this ancient train. I wasn't able to find out how old this interior is, but it looked like straight out of the Soviet Union. And that would be fine, but there was one major problem: the insane lack of cleanliness. There were lots of unidentifiable marks on the floor, and the entire carriage smelled like a mix of urine and cigarettes. Yes, the attendants were smoking on the train. Worse still, there was a leak under our seats with oil dripping out. Not a good sign for the general level of maintenance.
Alright guys, we have been on the road for about 1 hour, and yeah, let's not beat around the bush here. This train is terrible. It is filthy and very, very, very old. I feel like I have been transported back to the 1950s, but the experience is worth it. And yeah, I can say this right off the bat: you don't take trains in Vietnam to get from A to B. You take trains for the experience, because there is no other reason to take this very, very old communist train. It has wooden walls and Soviet curtains. What else do you need? It's not a fast way to get from A to B, it's just an experience. But if you approach it with that kind of mindset, then it is actually worth it, because the landscapes are fantastic and the retro factor is just out of this world.
To be fair, I should mention that the AC kept working throughout the entire journey. 1 point for Vietnam Railways. That was, however, quickly overshadowed by the absolutely unacceptable state of the loo. I now knew why this train smelled like a mix of pissoir and ashtray. At least the toilet window opened, allowing me to get some cool shots. Anyways, let's find some more positives. I was starving at this point, but luckily you can buy food all throughout the journey. I got some banh mi and instant noodles, and to my surprise, both meals were decent. 2 points for Vietnam Railways.
Not that bad actually.
After the meals, I went to check out some of the other carriages. All third-class carriages look similar, with wooden walls and a 2+2 configuration, but they have different models of seating. There are sinks in every carriage, but just like every other part of this train, they weren't the cleanest. Bring your own hand sanitizer. I then got a peek at the sleeper compartments. They didn't look particularly comfortable, and I certainly wouldn't spend 30+ hours on them, but they did seem a bit cleaner than the rest of the train.
Alright guys, we have been on the road for about 5 hours now, and yeah, I am struggling to find something positive to say about this train. The air conditioning is working, that's a plus, and the seat reclines, but apart from that, this is definitely one of the worst trains I have ever seen. And I know what you're thinking now, you're gonna say that it is cheap and that I should expect it to be terrible. Yeah, it is very cheap, I will reveal the price later, but I took a train in Thailand a few weeks ago, and that was more or less the same price for the same sort of distance, and it was much cleaner and also much more well maintained. So yeah, I think that price alone cannot be an argument, and the state of this train is just terrible. I mean, there's no excuse for that. If you are running these trains, then at least maintain them a little bit. Anyways, we have a few more hours left to get to Saigon, and we'll see what awaits us for the rest of the journey.
As it was getting dark, I found out that we had racked up another 90-minute delay on top of our original 2-hour delay. Somehow, the train kept stopping in the middle of nowhere, probably for technical reasons. As a reminder, the journey should have taken about 8 hours, but it ended up taking almost 10 hours, in addition to leaving Nha Trang 2 hours behind schedule. As such, the total delay was about 4 hours. As we are disembarking, it's time to reveal the price. I bought the ticket on a Vietnamese website and paid 310,000 Vietnam dong, which is about 12 euros. That might sound cheap, but compared to the Thai train, it wasn't good value for money. The Bangkok-Chiang Mai Express cost 16 euros for a 10-hour journey that included 2 meals. Be sure to check out that video as well. You can easily find a bus for the same price on this route, and that will be much more comfortable and probably faster. Finally, depending on when you book, you can get dirt cheap flights from Nha Trang to Saigon, and that is arguably the best option. I can't really recommend this train, even if, like myself, you love retro trains. The vintage factor doesn't make up for the terrible state, and it's just too unreliable. It was a fun experience overall, but I don't think I would do it again. And I would definitely avoid spending longer on this train, even or especially in the sleeper cabins. Let me know if you would take this train and if you have heard of any worse trains. As always, thanks very much for watching and see you again next week. Goodbye.